Hello everyone, welcome to one other episode of Let's Talk FPL Strategy. Today, we are going to do a episode for Game Week 9. This is a special wildcard episode. In this, right, we will be seeing the fixture difficulty rating for all the teams and who are all the players you can take from those teams. And then we will rank the teams according to their fixture difficulty rating. Then I will be sharing my wildcard team and I'll explain why I've taken some players. And then finally we will see the game week 9 fixtures, what are the trends associated with them. And then finally, what is my game week 9 playing 11. So if you see Arsenal, right, they have before I go into that, all these fixture difficulty rating are based on what is the fixture difficulty rating given by Fantasy Premier League official site. The one in pink will be difficulty 1, which means it's easier, and the one which is in red is difficulty 5, which is very high difficulty. The one in blue is 4, which is an high difficulty. 3 is sort of average, and 2 is sort of easy. Not very easy, but easy. So if you see Arsenal, right, they have two tough games with Liverpool and Chelsea, and a relatively easier game compared to that against Tottenham. Other than that, they all have of difficulty 2 only. But the most important thing is Arsenal doesn't have a game in game week 12. So based on these difficulties and the current player form of Arsenal, we are suggesting you 3 players who are Saliba, Martinelli, and Jesus if you want to have. See, Saliba, even though there are some tough difficulties, he has given points both in defense as well as in offense. So that is why his name has been suggested. Martinelli and Jesus are the players who are doing a complete attack for the Arsenal. But at a little bit higher price point, you also have Saka, even though he hasn't performed well or how he performed last year, he still has 5 goal and assist associated with him. So he's always a dark horse in this Arsenal team with respect to FPL this season. The next team is Aston Villa, and if you see them, they don't have anything in high or very high difficulty range. All their matches are considered either 2 or 3, whereas the 3 is Chelsea, Newcastle, United, and Brighton. Again, all those are based on FPL things. So even though some team might look like a top 6 team or a very difficult team, but based on the regular performance with that team, they might be considered an average rating. So again, here also I'm suggesting Martinez, Bailey, and Watkins. Bailey is a rotation risk, but whenever he has played, he has given some good points. So that's my suggestion with respect to the Aston Villa team. Next is a Bournemouth, who also has no high or very high difficulty, and their average difficulty games are also West Ham and Tottenham in game week 13 and 14. All other games are easy fixtures for them too. The players whom I'm suggesting here is I still don't have confidence on Bournemouth defense. So I'm going for Billing and Lemma in the midfield, and then Solanke, who is going to be their striker. So these are my Bournemouth suggestion. Next is Brentford, and if you see here, they also have no high difficulty game or very high difficulty game until game week 16. The game week 16 is where they meet Manchester City, and that is a very high difficult game for them. But until that, you see them having easy and average difficulty only, and the average difficulty teams are Newcastle, Brighton, where they might compete well, and the last team is Chelsea. The players suggested is Tony and Raya are straightforward. I was thinking on Brentford defense guys, but with the fixture list they have, at least for the first 4 game weeks, I thought it's better to select a midfielder than a defender. So I went for Jensen, but you can always take a defender also. Because if you see the game week 13 to 15, it's again good options for them, and game week 9 is also good. And Newcastle and Brighton also defensively they might be able to do good. Maybe Chelsea might be the only difficulty, but the current Chelsea form and everything, like even that game, they can try to keep a clean sheet. So if you want, like you can go for a defender from Brentford too. The next team is like Brighton. They have like two very high difficulty game in the first few games itself. Like they have like Liverpool, and then like even though Tottenham is being considered as given like average difficulty, that might also be a tough game for Brighton, who has like recently the coach changed. So based on those all those parameters, like it might become a tough game for them. And then they also play Brentford, who's in good form. So which is like their average games. Their average games are all tough games. Like if you see, they also have Chelsea. And then like again in game week 13, like they have Man City. Other than that, maybe like the other three games, like they can compete with. But with the coach change and everything, like I would avoid a Brighton people because Brighton would normally take the defender, and then like people like Pascal Grow. But like the current situation in the team as well as like the fixtures, it's better to avoid the Brighton people. But if you want to take them, you can go for the keeper Sanchez. The expectation is he might get some clean sheet, not some clean sheets in the back end of the period, and then like some save points at the beginning of the period. Again, one thing I want to add here is like all of these are talking till game week 16. That is because after that, like you have a World Cup break where you get another chip or a wild card, like where you can like completely change your team with complete free transfers. So that's why like I all the fixture lists I've given till game week 16. So the players I suggest here is like Sanchez for the reason I've told, and then I've gone for McAllister, who's in good form for them, and then I've gone for Wiltman again for the same reason, like the back end, like they have some good fixtures where they can keep clean sheets, and like he might like help you with some assist here and there. Like the striker, like you have like Welbeck as an option, but like I'm not confident that like the first few games, like he might become a threat. So the next team in our list is like Chelsea, who again doesn't have any game in like high or very high difficulty, but they have a couple of average games where like they play with Crystal Palace, Brentford, Manchester United, Brighton, Arsenal, and Newcastle in the average category. I'm a little bit surprised why they have average against Crystal Palace because like their record against them is like really good. You will see them in the game week 9 pictures, but like the record is like really good. So I'm confused on that. But like Chelsea is a good option to select players in the if you're doing a wild card this week. And the players like I can suggest is like James and Sterling for sure. The next player, like I was like not that much confident whom to select, but like I've gone with Cucurella because I expect him to do well against with Potter coming and managing Chelsea now. But that being said, like you can take any of the Chelsea defenders and like maybe that keeper because like the forward and midfield still there's no clear clarity on who will be the player whom you can depend completely on. But like Chelsea is a good option to take during this wild card. Like whichever player you are comfortable will start and do well, you can take them. Next team on our list is like Crystal Palace. Again, another team with like, except for the game week 9 where they play Chelsea, all the remaining games, the other average game is against West Ham where I think they will do well. So if you see like they have like really good fixtures. The Crystal Palace are like one of the important teams or like the main team like many players will try to take. And the suggestions here are like Gaeta and Anderson, like because like the features they have, there are possibilities for a lot of clean sheets. And then like Zaga, that penalty taker, as well as their most important player. So Zaga is again a very straightforward pick. So Crystal Palace is really, really a good option to select players if you're doing a wild card this week, or like if you're going to use some of your free transfer for the coming game weeks. Everton is again another team where like the fixture list, right, is like sort of if you take the next four game weeks alone, like it is sort of like you can say difficult, but if you take the entire period, they have like really, really good fixtures in the back end. And like game week 9 is again another option where like they have like uh, what to say, an easier opponent relatively. And with Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back, that will also might change Everton's fortune again. And with the guy in midfield now, like Everton is starting to look a little bit more solid. So Everton is again another team. Like if you are thinking for the second half of the, like game week 13 to 16 period, Everton is a really really good option. And the player suggestion here is like Pickford, IOB, and DCA. IOB this season is playing really good for Everton. So that's why I've included him in my pick. Next team on the list is like Fulham, where they have some tough games at the end of the thing, but like at the beginning, even though the average games are against Newcastle and West Ham, where Fulham might do well. So you can trust Fulham players, and you can at the last few game weeks, you can transfer them to some other player using a free transfer. So Fulham is again another good team or a team with a lot of opportunities in the coming game weeks. So the player suggestion here are like Mitrovic and Andreas, which is like straightforward. And then the final player I've gone with Tete, but you can go for the Leno also. Leeds again another team which has relatively decent fixtures in the first half. The second half they have tough games like Liverpool and Tottenham. So if you are say there are people who do their wildcard at game week 13. So such kind of players they can take Leeds. No, so you have Rodrigo, Harrison, and Bamford as my suggestion. All informed players, and some of the players are coming back from injury. So just have a little bit of caution before you take them into your team. Straightforward selections here also, and I'm not going with the defense of Leeds. I'm still not confident that they'll keep clean sheet in these fixtures. Leicester City again another team which has good pictures in the first half, and second half they have one tough game against the City. But if they start playing well and they get into form, even the West Ham game, which is in game week 16, which is considered as average, they can easily manage that. So I've gone with Madison and Tielemans, and then I've gone for Dhaka. I expect him to play more in the coming game weeks as Vardy is aged now, and Dhaka will be a good with the fixtures will be a good asset if he starts getting his game time. The next team in our list is Liverpool. They have a few tough games. They have a game with Arsenal in game week 10, City in 11, and in game week 15 they play Tottenham. But leaving that, if you see there are other teams where they definitely score huge goals. Say for example, they have Nottingham, Leeds, and Southampton in the game week 13, 14, and 16. So I will suggest you start with City players. Game week 12 City players will not be playing. So in that right, you can easily bring a Liverpool player because the City player and Liverpool player are more or less similar priced with slight variations only, and you can easily bring them into your team. So my suggestion is start with City players, then during game week 12 make them as Liverpool players, and then game week 15 or this thing maybe you can again bring on some of the City players game week 13, 14 because they again get some good fixtures there which will be seen next. So again, Salah and Diaz and Jota are the people I think TA is down with confidence now, so I'm not going with them. Salah is their main key player still now, so I'm going with them. Diaz, I've seen him with good what to say potential is the right word. He's having good potential, so I expect him to continue doing good things. But I'll give time till maybe game week 16. But after that, if he's continuing like this, I might not suggest him. But I think the biggest turnaround that will happen for Liverpool is Diego Jota coming back to the team. Firmino and Nunes are not clicking for them as they expected. So once with Jota coming, he will be much more clinical and with him in the team, I think Diaz and Salah's output also will increase. So that's why I've suggested all the three with Diego Jota being a big turning point for Liverpool is what I believe. So these are my Liverpool suggestions. We'll go to the next team. which is Manchester City. They have like really good fixture list. The game week 9 against United might be a little bit tough based on the trends. And then like game week 11 against Liverpool, I think like City has done recently with decent returns with Liverpool. So even though it is tough, like I still expect my City has to do well in that game. They have a blank in game week 12. So that's why like if you go back, uh, Liverpool like has tough games at the beginning, so start with the City players, and then finally like sub them to like Liverpool players and bring City players back for some other player in like the game week 14 to 16. So that's what I will suggest you guys to do. So my suggestion is like all and KDB and Cancelo, but like you can select people like Fernando and Ederson kind of people also because they are also consistently giving points. Holland is a no-brainer, and KDP is like the main creator, so that's why I've gone with both of them. And Cancelo, even on a game where they concede goals and he still gets a lot of bonus points. He is a bonus point magnet. That is why I've suggested Cancelo as my third pick. Manchester United, they have a tough game with City, and then like they have like game week 12, 13, they again have some tough game with Tottenham and Chelsea. But other than that, like they have like good fixtures. So if you want, like you can take City United assets also. If even if you're doing a wild card, because after game week 9, like there is like some games that they'll do well. And 12, 13, maybe you can like bring them, move them out and bring them again for game week 14 to 16. So Rashford, Dalet and Sancho are my picks based on how United currently plays. And I heard Rashford is back in training, so like his injury is not as serious as it was worried when he got injured. Next is like Newcastle United again, like they have like some tough games in between, like United, Tottenham, and Chelsea, but overall their fixtures are also relatively good. And like with the current form of like Trippier and Isaac, I have given their names because I expect them to get good points in this 8 game week period. And then I also trust Pope to do good. Like if you need a third player from Newcastle. Our next team on the list is like Nottingham Forest. Again, good fixtures like till game week 12 and then like game week 15 to 3. In between, they play Liverpool and Arsenal. So avoid taking their defenders but you can still take Dean Anderson because like he's an asset to the team with that save points. So that is what I have also done. I have predicted Anderson, and then like I have given Johnson the players who might score goals in their 5 easy fixtures in this 8 game week period. Next on the list is like Southampton, like where like you have like some difficult games like City and Liverpool, and then like even their average games are a little bit tough. Like when you consider like teams like Arsenal, Crystal Palace are there, but they have some relative games also. I will suggest like if you're going to do a wild card in game week 13, it is better to take Southampton Ascent or else like don't take Southampton Ascent. No. And the people are like common guys like JWP, Armstrong, and Adams based on the current performing players have selected these 3 players. Next is like Tottenham. Again, they don't have any very high difficulty fixture, but they have fixtures like Arsenal, Manchester United, and then like they also have like Newcastle. I'm surprised like Arsenal has been given in green. Maybe it might be a mistake from my side because Arsenal away is like a one tough game for Tottenham. Like in the last 29 attempts, I think like they have just won only once. So it is like a difficult one. Maybe it might be a mistake from my end, like the coloring. But like they have some relatively tough fixture. But like Tottenham, if they want to have a Champions League ambition, I expect them to face these tough fixtures also and like compete in these matches. So, like I've gone with Kane, Son, and Dyer as my 3 options. I expect Son to have a turnaround like with him like scoring in the international break as well as like an active before that. Like I think like he's slowly getting into his form and like he might play to his potential in the coming game weeks. Next is like West Ham again, like good fixtures, except for the Liverpool and United game. But I think like United game, like they might like compete like if they start playing to their potential. Even though they have good fixtures, the problem is like the team needs some time, like for many of the new players to gel and like to identify. Also, David Moyes generally doesn't bring the new player and like make them play from game week one. He slowly brings them to the team, and that might be a reason for the slow start also. But like if they start performing to the potential, like the games are all like really easy and like good ones. But my current suggestion would be is like avoid West Ham guys like until they start performing for a couple of games in succession. So, but still, like if you want me to suggest some players, I would say Fabianski, Sosek, and Bowen, because I still doesn't get the confidence like um, West Ham will score more goals. So, like I'm gone with Fabianski because these fixtures, Fabianski might be an asset. Sosek and Bowen might also like get you some points if they start scoring, playing on start scoring goals. Next team on our list is Wolves. Again, they have a tough game with Chelsea, like in game week 10, but other than that, they doesn't have any high difficulty or a very high difficult games. But like Wolves generally doesn't score much, so I've gone for like Sa and Kilman for that reason because I expect them to keep a clean sheet rather than scoring a goal. But if they score goals, like very few people are there, like who might be contributing that, and one of the person in that is like Foden. That's why I've given him as my third pick. So now, like if you see, like there are people who might do wildcard in game week 13 or like game week 12, like where like Arsenal and City are having some difficult fixtures. But like, why is it game week 13 is like they might drop that Arsenal and City guys like before game week, like say 11 and 12. And then like they might want City assets to be back by game week 13. So that's why like many people do the wildcard in game week 13. So this is the ranking of the team based on like the difficulty level for game week 9 to 12. So you can see Bournemouth, Leicester, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. Like so, you can select your team based on that, and like you can play your players accordingly. So this is like the fixture difficulty rating in the easiest difficulty level at the top, and like the difficult ones at the bottom. So the next one is like for the entire 8 game weeks period, like again in the difficulty level is what I have suggested here. So that's why you could see a lot of players taking Crystal Palace guys or Aston Villa's guys or even like Madison from Leicester because of their fixture difficulty. So this like 2 slides will give you like please pass and see that like if you want to see the complete data will help you with the fixture difficulty for the next 4 or 8 weeks. So what I have done is like for my wildcard team, I've tried to take some big name players as well as like some players whose fixtures are really good so that I can try to maximize that point. So that could be some common people like for the template guys many people take. Whereas there could be some differentials also. So that being said, like many people have done their wildcard in game week 9 because that was like the initial plan, like game week before, like the first wildcard, like it is better to use it like before the game week 16 because during game week 16 you get a big bonus chip this year. So for that, many people thought like when these rules were given, game week 9 is a good option because like you have an international break as well as like it is in between your total 16 game week period. So you could see many of them bringing Tony, Madison, Saliba, Trippier, and Saga, like as I said, based on their current pictures, and like people leaving out are Jesus, Salah, Rashford, Odegaard, and Zinchenko. Arsenal relatively not having good fixtures, and like game week 12, they also have a break. So that's why like you could see like more Arsenal players are like transferred out this game week. So my wildcard team, like if you see like the fixture difficulty rating in the before slide, I'll show you. Like we take Crystal Palace and Everton, right? Like they complement each other with a P. Like say for example, Everton in game week 9 as Southampton, and then like Crystal Palace has like Leeds, Leicester, and Wolves. In the next three game weeks. And then like you have Everton and Crystal Palace itself like in game week 13 playing against each other. Game week 14 against like you have Southampton and Fulham for both the teams. And then game week 15 you have like West Ham. I still see them as like an clean sheet option like unless they improve. And you have like Leicester here. And then game week 16 against you have Nottingham and things. So I think like they complement each other well. So my goalkeepers I have taken Goetia and Pickford. So you have like two 4.5 goalkeepers, but like they will rotate like based on the fixture difficulty. And then in defense, I've gone for Saliba because of his current form, even though his fixture is difficult. And then I've gone for James, Trippier, and Cancelo with Tarkovsky as my fifth or a cheap defender. I've gone for Everton because I like Everton's fixture. And then like I've gone for Zaka, Madison, De Bruyne, IOB, and Andreas. IOB is my actually I've taken three Everton players like which is like a surprise or you can say like I'm going as a differential with them. And then like my strikers are Holland, Mitrovic, and Watkins. Watkins again, like I was thinking of Tony, but I went with Watkins because like of Aston Villa's good fixtures, and I expect Watkins like to do more because recently like he has started to do off the ball activities also really good. And then like how I'll play for the game week 12 is like mostly like I'll try to like save my game week 11 transfer or like one of the transfers early so that like I'm able to like carry forward one transfer so that I have two transfer around game week 12. And then I might be like changing De Bruyne and Cancelo at that time to say Salah and TAA is what I will be doing like or like what I'm planning to do. And then like I'll manage that game week 12 and then like game week 13, 14 also where they get good players and then like if needed I might like bring them back. So that's the idea for my game week 12. So even though I have City as such, like they might go out and come back later. So this is my wildcard team. And then like the game week 9 fixtures. Like we are going to start with Arsenal and Tottenham. The Northern and Derby is our first game. Arsenal hasn't lost against Spurs in Premier League in Emirates for the last 11 years. In fact, the last 29 games they've just lost once. But the interesting thing is like Arsenal hasn't kept clean sheet in this fixture after 2017-18, both in Emirates as well as in White Hart Lane. Like Arsenal has considered goals. So if you see the last 10 games or 12 games, like they haven't kept a clean sheet. So I expect Arsenal to concede a goal and like mostly like if you see like Harry Kane gets a penalty against Arsenal and he scores. So that's a very common scenario we've seen many times. And in fact, like Hurricane, I think it's like second in the list after Alan Shearer to score against a single team win penalties more. So against Arsenal, they scored I think like 6 times, and Shearer has done like 7 times, which is like the Premier League record. So I expect somehow like Spurs to score one goal, but Arsenal, based on their current form as well as like the record in Emirates, like to win this game by 2-1. So my suggestion will be like definitely take Kane and then like you can take Jesus and Martinelli maybe from Arsenal or like Saliba for his attacking returns. The next game is like Bournemouth versus Brentford. Brentford has won 4 of this last 5 matches. But the interesting thing is Bournemouth has scored at least one goal in the last 6 matches. So even though they have lost, they have always scored. So I'm again going for a 1-2 prediction here. with Bournemouth scoring that one goal as they have done in the past, but they'll still lose to Brentford. So I'm actually going with the trend this game also, but I'm predicting one. Next is like Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. As I said during the team's picture difficulty itself, I don't know why this is considered as average because if you take the last 10 games, Chelsea has won all the 10, scoring 25 goals in that and conceding only 5. So I don't know why this is considered as an average difficulty, but like that is what the picture difficulty rating is given in the Premier League site. My prediction for this is like 0-2. So you can take a player like these teams here who can add more value. And like unlike last time, I'm not sharing like the individual players for each of the game because like I've given you individual players for each of the team instead of the match like how we used to give in the past week. This being a special wildcard week, I've given you like team level player prediction. So I'm not giving a player thing, but like I'm just adding my value here, like by saying which players you can take for the prediction I have given. So take a player like Lee James who can help you with both offense and defense points. And then like you can go for any of Chelsea's defender, or maybe you can go for Sterling too, because he might be the person who might score those goals. This game is like Fulham versus Newcastle. In this, the last 8 games, like where the team has won, winning team has kept clean sheet except for only one game. So in 7 games out of the 8, the winning team has kept clean sheet. And with Newcastle, like not having Isaac and like Wilson is also coming back from injury, I expect Fulham might be the victorious team based on current form of Mitrovic also. So 1-0 win for Fulham is what I expect. So go for Mitrovic and maybe Trippier because like if my prediction is wrong, he might be the player like who might be doing something. Next game is like Liverpool versus Brighton. In this, like in the last 10 games against Brighton, Liverpool has failed to score only once, which is the only time they have lost also. I think Brighton won the game 1-0. So go for Liverpool attackers like Jota or Salah or like Diaz kind of player. And I expect Liverpool to score 3 goals in this game against Brighton because of the new coach change and other things. So I think Brighton might take some time to get adapted to the new coaching system. The next 5 games, like the first game in that list is like Southampton versus Everton. The last 10 meetings, right? Like the interesting is there are like 4 wins for Southampton in Everton and like 2 scoring draws also. And Southampton has failed to score only once in this picture in the last 10 games. So, like, I'm taking a big prediction here that Southampton will win 2-0, even though Everton is starting to play well. And since Southampton has failed to score only once in the last 10 games, I'm expecting them to score this time also. So, with DCL just coming back from injury and everything, I might think like Everton might miss this game, like where like they might not score. So 2-0 is what I predict, but like I will say that this is a game where I'm not 100% confident. So if you want to take your 2 players, please go ahead and take it also. West Ham versus Wolves, again, an interesting trend here. Like the winning team has kept like clean sheet 9 times in the last 10 games. And based on the current form, West Ham, I don't know how they will score goal, but like Wolves, they normally keep the clean sheets, and I expect them to like somewhat nick a goal also. So it is going to be 0-1 is what I predict, but this game has all the ratings for a 0-0 also. So I will suggest pick a Wolves defender and goalkeeper if you want. Mostly they will give you good points at the end of the game. Next game is like City versus United. Uh, Manchester City, like in like 7 of the last fixtures between City and United, has failed to score in 4 of the 7. And if you take the last 6 games, in 4 of the games, the winning team has won by a score of 2-0. And I expect City and United to be a close game, but the caliber or like the potential of like a player like Haaland will help City to win this 2-0. United will play very well, but still they will lose 2-0 is what I predict. Going by the trend and of the winning team in the last 6 games, but I also believe like City might not like fail like the previous seven fixtures, where they failed to score four. I expect them to score this time because of players like Kerry Carland and them to win 2-0. To go for players like Haaland, KDB, and Cancelo in your team, and not the Manchester United defenders. Next game is like Lee versus Aston Villa. In this, both the teams have won by beating the other team. But this has always been high scoring goal pictures. Like in the last 6 games, they have scored 20 goals. Interestingly, both Aston Villa and Leeds have scored 10-10. So it's not one team, like both the teams are scoring goals. And that is what I'm also predicting. This will be a high scoring affair, but still it will be a draw with a 2-2 win for like a 2-2 draw for both the teams. So pick the attackers from Leeds and Aston Villa, and they might reward you with this game. The final game of this week is like Leicester versus not much recent trends, but I'm still going for a 1-0 win for Leicester. And this might be the lucky break which Leicester might need. So big players like Madison and Daka in your team, they might give you good returns. So that's this game week. I've tried to add a prediction call based on the trends or whatever I feel like based on the current form. I feel this will add more value than what is last game week result, because the trends gives you more than last game week, last year's game week one. So hopefully this new fixture will be of use to you. Please share your comments on if you think you want the old one, or you think this new one is a much more better thing, or much more useful one for you. And then this is my team for this game week. I'm going for Pickford as my goalkeeper because he plays against Southampton. And then I've gone for a back five of Trippier, James, Cancelo, Saliba, and Tarkowski. And then in my midfield, I'm starting KDB, Madison, and I'm playing all my three strikers. My bench is Guetia, and then my first sub is Gaga, and then IOB and Andreas. So my captain in this will be Holland, and my vice captain will be Mitrovic. So this is my team for this game week, and all the best for all of you, and have a very good FPL game week. And finally, if you like my content, please do share this video with your friends who are playing FPL, and please press the subscribe button if you want to get all the videos in your YouTube subscriptions. And then please press the bell icon also if you want notification whenever I put a new video. Thanks again for listening, and once again all the best for having a very, very great game week after the international break. Thank you all.